Hello, welcome to my middle high school math course. And today I want to start with the very first topic that you should understand, which is order of operations, or you may have heard of PEMDAS, which is what we're going to see now is related to order of operations. All right. Now, I would advise you to, as you follow along, maybe have a notebook and write today's date and write topic number 1 or whatever, order of operations, PEMDAS. You can pause the video at any time if you want to do that, but my advice to you is to follow along on using a notebook. Write along and solve along, okay? Alright, let's move on to the next page. Order of operations, and before we start, we just want to first understand what do we mean by operations. And operations is simply adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. That's what we mean by operations. And so when we say order of operations, we mean in what order do we perform operations in math. One thing to note, and you might not really understand this right now, but just keep this in mind as we move along. Addition and subtraction are inverse operations, which means they are opposites of each other. And that means that adding is the opposite of subtracting, and multiplication and division are opposites as well. So multiplying is the opposite of division, and you're going to use that concept a lot moving forward in math. Alright, order of operations, and we've answered the question, what are operations? And I have two questions for you here. In what order do we perform operations? And we'll talk about that. That's what we're trying to answer today. And then the other question is here, this question here, when do we use order of operations? So when are we going to use order of operations? And the answer to this question is you will always use order of operations. So I want you to pause the video if you're writing, and first of all, write when do we use order of operations. I want you to write that question and then to write under it always. We never don't use order of operations. All right, and so let's try to understand. And you see, I have here written PEMDAS, and we're gonna talk about what this PEMDAS thing is if you don't already know. In what order do we perform operations? Look at this question here. What should I do first? What should I do last? What order? How should I do this? And to solve this question, they agreed, mathematicians a long time ago agreed that there will be a certain order in which we will do operations. And this is called PEMDAS because you can see here the orders are, the order of operations are, first, parentheses, P, E, exponents, M, multiplication, D, division. And remember, multiplication and division are almost the same thing. They're opposites of each other. So multiplication and division are together. So first it's parentheses, then it's exponents, then it's multiplication and division. Then it's addition and subtraction. And once you've reached where there's just addition and subtraction, they tell you go from, let me get my pen. They say go from left to right at the very end. That's after you finished. Once you've reached addition, after you finish parentheses, exponents, multiplication, and division, and you're left just with addition and subtraction, go left to right. And here, I'm going to solve this question right now so that we can see how we apply it. So the very first thing we're going to start with are P, parentheses. So we can see here that there is a 3 times 2 plus 7 is in parentheses. So we're going to do this 3 times 2 plus 7. We're going to do this first. We're going to do this first. We're going to treat this as its very own problem. And within this problem, we also, because when do we use PEMDAS? When do we use PEMDAS? Or when do we use order of operations? We always use order of operations. So to solve this problem here, we also have to apply order of operations. So let's do that. Parentheses, there's no parentheses in this small problem, 3 times 2 plus 7. There are no exponents, so we're done with parentheses, we're done with exponents. Let's do multiplication and division if there is. And you can see here, there is 3 times 2 is multiplication, so we're going to do that first. Okay? Then we only are left with addition and subtraction, so we go from left to right, and so we can say that 6 plus 7 equals 13. So what does this mean? This means that we can erase this and write 13 instead. You see that? And then we can erase all this other stuff. Okay? There we go. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to go back and I'm going to rewrite the problem again 4 times 5 squared. But instead of all of this, I'm just going to write plus 13 minus 2 over to the power 3, not over. Okay. And now we finished parentheses in the main problem. Alright? We now move on to exponents, and we can see now there's 2 exponents. So let's do it very quickly now. 4 times 25 plus 13 minus 8. You see, I did the parentheses. The exponents. I already had them. Now we move on to multiplication, and we can see there's only one multiplication here. 4 times 25 plus 13 minus 8. Now, when you get good at this, you can do it faster than I'm doing it now. But because we're just learning, we're getting the hang of it. So that's okay, that's okay. Let's take it one step at a time. Alright, so we get 100. We go from left to right. We get 100 plus 13 is 113. Minus 8 equals 105. And then we're done. So as you can see, this is how we apply order of operations. I would pause the video now and do this problem, copy it, because I'm gonna give you some practice questions in a bit. All right, let's move on. I hope you paused and copied this question and the answer. All right, now here we go with another problem. And this time, this problem has 2 things I want to talk about. First, it has this little, let me get my pen. It has this dot here. You see this dot here? What does this dot mean? Well, this is simply a multiplication sign. This dot is simply a multiplication sign, okay? It's just another way of writing multiplication, if you didn't know that. Now, when we have a problem with which has fractions, what we're going to do is we're going to treat it as if it's 2 problems. 2, alright? We're going to do the top by itself, and we're going to do the bottom by itself. And in this case, I can already see that the bottom, let me erase this. I can already see that the bottom is very easily equal to 6. So I'll just do that to the side right now, just because 4 plus 2 is 6 is easy. Now, for the top, we're going to have to use PEMDAS. And let's do it. I like to do it step by step, looking at the letters. You could take a screenshot of this, or if you just Google PEMDAS, this is where I got this image. Just Google PEMDAS, you'll get this image. It's a well-known topic. Alright, so here what do we have? We have parentheses. So we have to do the parentheses first. So 2 times, I didn't write that times. It's not always easy writing on these things. And then 3 plus 2, 3 plus 12 is 15. There you go. So now you have 2 times 15. You could here put over 6, but I'm solving each part separately. And then this equals 30. So we can just write here 30. And then 30 divided by 6 is 5. So that's your final answer. 15 times 2 is 30 divided by 6 equals 5. We did parentheses first, and then there was no exponents. We did multiplication. And then at the very end, after you finish everything, because here it's a bit tricky. I did addition and subtraction in the bottom first. Why? Because when you have a question with fractions, you need to do the top by itself, you need to do the bottom by itself, and then you do it. You can think of it as being, if I were to erase all of this, you can think of it as being like this. If we wanted to generalize, and if you want to write this down, you can, that anytime you have a fraction, and these are just numbers, A, B, C, D are just numbers. I'm just using letters right now as numbers. You can think of this problem as having 2 brackets here, and therefore you need to do, I didn't like that last bracket. You need to do the brackets first. So you could pretend like there's a bracket here and a bracket here when it comes to fractions, and then you solve it. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, even though it seemed like we did addition before division, we actually did parentheses before division. They're hidden parentheses is what I would say. Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm done now with the class, the lesson. I hope you learned. And what I want you to do is, excuse me, is pause the video right now, take a screenshot of this, copy it, write it down. These are practice questions, and I will provide you with the solutions. I want to see, I will provide you with the solutions later, okay? But I want you right now to try to solve these on your own using PEMDAS. And that's it for the video.